Hi, everyone. Oh gosh, here we are live. I got a new laptop. I got a new internet connection, and I'm hoping this works this time and we have less buffering, but we'll see. I also upgraded I use StreamYard, by the way. So I think somebody asked me what I'm using. So I'm using StreamYard, and that I actually like the program. I think it works well. But first off, I just want to say thanks to everybody for joining me today. And I think the topic of conversation hi friend, that I would really love to discuss today is losing friends. And I think, hey everyone, hey, thanks for joining me. It means a lot to me that you joined me here. So hopefully this connection is solid and everything looks good. So here's what I want to say. It's so difficult sometimes, hand orange covering eyes. What does that mean? I don't understand. Anyway, one of the things I really uh want to say is this before I move forward. Being in a space of speaking out is always difficult. It's difficult when you are in a community that does not necessarily respect other views. And I want you to know that I do what I do, not because I expect people to like me or that I want people to like me, but I do this because my heart tells me to. And I speak out about things I don't necessarily agree with in a community that is all over the place because my heart tells me to do this. So that's first what I want to say. Secondly, I want to say that, when you speak out about things, you are always in a position to also possibly have pushback. Of course, that's a given. But I think what's important to understand is pushback is also important. And I don't discount, or I don't want you to not push back on me, and I don't want you to question what I'm saying on some level, but I need it to be put in a format that's um I need to put it in a format that says, I disagree with you, Buck. Let's figure this out. Not you're a turf, you're a grifter, you're a transphobe, those things don't work. They will not create conversation, especially with me. I won't have a conversation with somebody who comes out the gate calling me names or telling me I'm wrong or all of those things. That just won't happen. So I guess what I'm trying to get at here today is this, and it's a difficult conversation for me, but I want to have it because I want to open the floor to all of you because I know that you've dealt with this as well. Okay. Here's what I want to say. You all know that I'm very outspoken about the transitioning of young people, and I will continue to speak out about that until you can prove to me that it's 100%, hey friend, that it's 100% safe, that children will grow up and be functioning adults. That means sexually, that means brain function, that means no pain in their bodies, that means healthy. Until you can prove that to me, I will continue to speak out about the medicalization and transitioning of young children. Doesn't matter if you agree with me or not. It's my stance on it. Now with that, I am opposing a lot of people in the community who disagree with me. Okay. And that's okay. Like I said at the beginning, it's okay to disagree with me. But what it is not okay and what I will not tolerate is you coming after me without having a conversation and just straight out the gate calling me names, telling me we're in this position because of me, that blah, 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 blame me, Caitlyn Jenner, Blair White, all the people who standing up against the medicalization of children. So this last 2 weeks or so, I lost two what I thought were very good friends of mine, both transgender women, both older transgender women, and both I considered to be friends, on some one of them more than the other, but friends that I could possibly have a conversation about with things if they would have reached out to me. But they never reached out to me. They just completely, totally, 100% threw me under the bus. on a public platform. Both of them did. Remember, both trans women. And I was shocked. I actually was. And I'm going to be honest here. My feelings were hurt. My feelings were hurt. They were. My feelings were hurt because I didn't believe those two would ever stoop to that level. Unbelievable. They stooped to such a immature, childlike space. And I'm not even going to name them because it's just, I don't want anybody to go say anything to them. And I don't really want to engage with them because it's just not the way I operate. And nor do I, actually, I did post one of them on there. So I'm going to actually say that's a lie. I did post one of the posts on my space, on my Instagram, because I was so mad about what this person said to me. And so, but right now I'm not going to name them because I let it go and I move forward. But this conversation is because I know that some of you are in the same space I am. And I'm pretty sure some of you have lost friends over your belief system. And so I guess my question, it hurt my feelings, but my question, I guess, that I want to pose, and thank you, it did. I feel like a loss. I lost two really, I think, great people in my life. I will not tolerate that behavior, and they are no longer my friends. I won't have friends like that in my life. If you can't disagree with me, but still be my friend, then you're not my friend. I disagree with my wife all the time. We're constantly, she's way more liberal than me, but that creates a really great space for me to learn and for her to learn and for us to sort of have these. I mean, I don't know anybody that if you're around somebody that's a yes man constantly, then you're in a bad space, my friend. You got to have people around that you sort of I like conversation. I like sitting at the table and having conversation. And those things are important. That's how you learn. It's how you grow. You can look at me 5 years ago. I did agree with transitioning children 5 years ago. And now I've changed my mind. And that's because I have conversation about it. So I just don't understand this idea that we can't be friends, but have a different opinion. I don't. And I don't live my life that way. So it's a loss for me. It's a loss. I lost two friends. And that's sad to me. But I won't have people like that in my life who are not willing to engage in conversation and see that I have a different way that I believe in. So with that, I'm wondering if there's anyone. Oh, so Jayla says, I started puberty blockers at 14 and I started to go into a deep depression after. Oh, wow. Really, friend? Here we go. We have a youngster. How old are you right now, Jayla? How old are you now? I would like to know. Wow, you started puberty blockers at 14 and I started to go in a deep depression. I would like to interview you. Do we have an interview set up? If not, you can, Seth is here. He's my assistant. If you could send him, you sound very interesting, friend. Oh, thanks, Al. You're so awesome, my friend. Thank you, buddy. Thank you, friend. You're so great. So let's see here. You're 15 now? You're 15 now, Jayla? Wow. So let's see. So for a year you've been on blockers, and then so are you continuing the blockers now? Wow, we have a 15-year-old here who took blockers. And so I love that you're being very upfront about that. Are you continuing the blockers? And I really want to get you on a great, we could really do a great interview. So here, this is what I want to do. What 14-year-old isn't depressed? This is true. I mean, come on, people. Let's just be real here. That's why I love you guys. Let's just be real. What 14-year-old isn't depressed? You are so right on. And I'm not laughing at depression. I'm just laughing because it's an actually real thing. Doesn't mean you're trans. So with that, I want to ask any of you, okay, have you ever dealt with anybody who you felt was a friend, that you really admired as a friend, that you felt close to as a friend? And have you, yeah, I think Jella has been here before. I just see so many people, but I want to know, like, have you ever lost a friend because you had a disagreement with them and they didn't want to hear your side and they didn't want to have a conversation with you and they just shut it down and called you names? And this one friend of mine went deep into that I'm an old porn star, and then started slinging these insults at me instead of having a conversation. They were slinging hate and insults that I'm old and my mental capacity is locked up. My mental capacity is that sharp, my friends. I'm 60 and I'm sharp. I'm sharp for many reasons. But when people start going after my age, that is so low. That is so low. And it says to me that you don't have argument. You don't have anything on me. You just want to try to kick me. Hey, Nikki, you just want to try to kick me. When you start slinging my age and my pornography background, and and that my mind isn't real, and that I think I'm a guru. Well, come on. These are so crazy that people would say these things about me, and without having the conversation. So I'm opening it up to all of you here, and anyone who is also, here we go. I see you, Kelly. Yeah. So Kelly says, I have losing friends hurts worse than a breakup with a partner. It's a betrayal. Thank you. That was the word I was looking for, Kelly. Thank you. It is such a betrayal of my friendship on so many levels. And this is where we are. Is this actually where we are today? Are we actually in a space where you and I, as friends, cannot disagree, or else I'm a transphobic whatever? Like, I'm also a trans person, people. I'm not just some person over here. I'm an actual 30 plus lived year experience transsexual person. I come to this with a whole other reality or length of time than many people. And I don't understand why that just doesn't mean something to this so-called community. And you're right, Sage. I want to put this up here. Sage says, flinging insults is a defense mechanism to avoid engaging in a conversation that feels threatening to the. That's right. That's exactly right. Great way you worded that. That's great. And that's it. So I know when people sling these things at me, even though it hurts my heart, and I'm going to tell you why it hurts my heart, because I consider myself a real person. I consider myself somebody who's willing to have conversation. I consider myself somebody who is not scared to say what I believe. Here's what I want to say. Why do they get to say everything they need to say? Why? But when I come with a different opinion, now I'm transphobic, I don't get to say why? Why is only one side of the story able to be out there speaking for all of us? That's the part I really have a hard time with. How come there's only one side of the trans space? How come me, Blair, blah, 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 and a million other people, why are we looked at as somebody who's not allowed to have our feelings and our opinions as trans people? This is really important here, that I all want you to hear, that there are people in our transgender community that get shut down because we don't agree with other aspects of this community. How is that a community? How is that a community? Does anybody even agree that we are in a community? I'm not really sure that we are. So, okay, this is a really great comment right here. Civility is not weakness. I don't understand why some people feel that way. That is an excellent statement, my friend. And that's right. We've lost that space of civility, or, being able to engage in critical thinking. And why do you think they took critical thinking off the table? They're teaching young people not to have what me and you can have here. I mean, most of you probably agree with me, so we're not having that same dialogue. But every once in a while, it's a cult. Every once in a while, I get somebody in here who wants to push back, which is great. I have no issues with that. In fact, I encourage it if you really do feel that way, right? But so here, community or cult, sometimes it feels like a cult. And I think when we all say that, and on some level, we sort of all agree with that, we get shot down too, because to say our community has turned into a cult is kind of cringy, and it is kind of yucky. And I don't necessarily even like saying that, but we can't deny it. There are aspects of it that are very culty. And that is one of the aspects is opinions, that you cannot have a different opinion. If you look at a cult, it's the same way. It's group thought. If you don't have the same group thought as everyone else, you are not in the community. And the community that does that is a cult. Look at Scientology, look at the Nexium, look at all of them. You have to lockstep walk in the same way. I'm challenging that. As a transsexual, I'm challenging that thought process. That is not why I transitioned. I never transitioned in order to think like you. Just being trans has nothing to do with me and you thinking alike. We don't have to think alike. That's not trans. Trans is a mental disorder that you fix through all of this situation. Whatever transgender stuff is going on over there, whatever non-binary does not speak for me. There is no alignment with non-binary. Zero. I want to live as a man. I want to live in the binary. I want to hang out in the world. I don't call people cisgender. I mean, I have a whole different way of being than those people over there. So you can't let me in the same space as them. I don't resonate with them. I don't speak like them. I don't represent them. And they don't represent me. That's, I think, it's a personal thing, Seth. That's exactly right. It's a personal thing. So that's where we've been lost, I think, in this whole kind of growth of transgender. It has been co-opted and appropriated on many levels. And so for me, that's why I take on transsexual. You all know that the appropriation of trans is out of control. Okay. So, and I believe this too. Non-binary has stolen the trans umbrella and expects us to play along. I'm not playing along. This is not playtime for me. None of this is playtime for any of us in this room. None of us. We are here because we have a disorder. And I apologize if that's not where your mind is at, but I'm going to say for transsexual people, I think most them accept their diagnosis and want to move on with it. It's why diagnoses are so important and why diagnosis helps us move forward in the world. And the most trans people I know don't want to live trans. They don't want to live trans. They want to live in a space that says, I'm okay with myself now. I have fixed what I needed to fix so my brain and my body align. That's what transsexualism is. It's giving your brain and your body a chance to align so that you out there see me as Buck. You don't see me as the girl. You see me as the boy. That's transsexualism right there. So why is mental health care now not even a part of the equation? Why would we take out mental health care? Why would we not want people to deal with this first? Because, you know, that's what trans is. It's here. Trans is here. It's not here. This is secondary. All of this stuff, beard, all that, that's second. It's here. It's a mental disorder. And in order to move through that mental disorder, which is not a bad thing, stop shaming mental illness or mental disorders. It's not a bad thing. To have a diagnosis is a positive thing. It means now somebody is seeing what you see. Okay, so for example, you're driving your car and it keeps conking out and you're like, fuck, and you take it to the mechanic. This happened to many people. Then you take it to the mechanic and it doesn't conk out. And you're like, I swear to God, dude, every time I drive my car, it conks out. Well, he's like, it's not doing it now. You go, it conks out again. You take it back. Nope, sorry, there's nothing wrong with your car. Till you go back and forth. And finally, the mechanic goes, oh, I see what's wrong here. Your carburetor is blah, blah, blah. You're like, that's the diagnosis. And the diagnosis enables you to fix the car. I mean, it's the same exact thing as getting a diagnosis with your gender dysphoria. Until you get diagnosed, you don't know what's wrong with you. You know you feel a certain way. You know you don't fit into the world. You know that you want to be X, Y, and Z, but no one's telling you why. So it just you spin out because no one's giving you this opportunity to see why I feel this way. It is why I fight for the diagnosis. And why I believe the diagnosis is the key to living a happy, fulfilled transition. Once you get the diagnosis, once the mechanic sees that it's the carburetor, fixes it, your car is running like super awesome. That's how I look at myself. I look at myself as a car who needed my engine that kept going off, and I didn't know why it kept going off. Then I went to the therapist, mechanic. They figured it out over a certain amount of time. There's no way you can diagnose or find something in 1 minute. It takes a long time to figure out what the diagnosis is. Do we not also understand dysphoria? Dysphoria is huge. Dysphoria doesn't necessarily mean gender dysphoria. You could have body dysmorphia, you could have all kinds of things going on with you that aren't necessarily related to gender. But all of a sudden, if you walk into an office and you say, I'm trans, you're trans. Don't you all find that to be a little bit sloppy? And on some level, is that mental health care? Right? So, right on. I'm going to bring you up. This is the greatest comment. I'm not in the community, by the way. This dude just seems legit. Well, that means a lot to me. We want people like you in this room, my friend, because you go back out. You go back out there and you tell the world, oh gosh, on all the trans people are totally out of their minds, because that's why we sit here today. We sit here today to let you know, oh, thanks for joining me. I really appreciate it. We sit here today because I want you to know that the trans community is not being represented properly. It's not. There are people like me who disagree with everything that's going on when it comes to children, just so you know, my friend. And I want you to take that back to your friends. What you see out there, these people who are highlighted, all of these influencers, they are not in any way, shape, or form like me and probably other guys and people and women in this room. We accept our biology. We know who we are. I'm a biological female. I transitioned to look like a man. I'm not a man like you. I'm a transsexual man. I mean, you know, and that is important to me. It's important to me to explain that to you who is not in the community, because I know what you're getting fed. And you're getting fed this stuff that says, if you don't agree, you're transphobic. That's not true. You don't have to agree with me, my friend. You do not have to agree with me, ever. The only thing I ever ask is right there. Just chilling out with me, saying, hey, this dude is spitting some facts and it's all good and I'll listen to it. That's all I ever ask. I don't ever ask for you to say, well, yeah, you're right. No, maybe I'm not right for you. And maybe that, but how do we coexist in the world, my friend? If me and you aren't super honest with each other. I don't want to take your space. I don't want to take anybody's space. I want to be in the space. I want to roll with you. I want to, you know what I mean? So if I'm honest about who I am, me and you are moving forward together. Right? Someone asked me a great question here. I lost it. Okay. But I do appreciate you saying that. Oh, here you go. Here you go. So look at this. The amount of times I've been labeled transphobic, it's so insane that this word, listen, people, even if you're not trans, I'm pretty sure if you're in this room, you're not transphobic. And I'm pretty sure you're willing to listen. So I don't like that people keep calling everybody transphobic if they don't agree. You know, I get called transphobic. I hope this resonates with you right now. If you are getting called transphobic, I'm getting called transphobic, and I'm an actual transsexual. That's why that word doesn't have weight anymore. That word is just gaslighting. They're gaslighting you. Anybody who calls you transphobic, they're gaslighting you. That word has been completely taken out of context. And that's the sad part, because there are 100% real transphobic people out there. Believe me, I get emails and crazy stuff from them. There are 100% transphobic people out there. But when we start calling everyone transphobic who is not transphobic, but just wants to understand and wants to be spoken to like a human and real, then you have just lost the whole meaning of transphobia. And that's dangerous behavior, because now nobody's the boy who cried wolf. Nobody's going to believe you anymore. And everyone's just like, whatever. We don't care. Everyone's a transphobe. Oh yeah, my friend. Somebody mentioned this person. I'm wondering how you all feel about this person. How do you all feel about this? I think their name is Jeffrey Marsh, and they're on TikTok, and they do a lot of TikTok things that go against everything I say. So me and Jeffrey, who is non-binary, which is a choice. Remember that. Non-binary is a choice. This isn't a choice. I have an actual diagnosis of gender dysphoria. When you choose to be non-binary, what you do, you're not getting a diagnosis. You're choosing that. And I'm not in any way shaming you as a non-binary. You're just not trans. You're non-binary. And so there's a big difference, right? So there you go. That person scares me. He's a creep, 100%. The guy's a groomer, and he's a scary person and should not in any way be associated to our community, because this is what people see. This guy's a big influencer, has a ton of power out there. And he's speaking to young people that gender isn't real, that biology is a social construct, all the things that are complete, total BS, and drag these poor kids into a space that they think this person cares about them. It's it's actually sick. And then people like me get sort of, eliminated or shut down, and people like him get put up on the platforms. Doesn't that make you wonder what's happening here? What's happening? Why would somebody like him get to be put on such a huge platform, but people like me and you don't, and we get canceled? And I didn't get canceled. Forget I even said that word. We get sort of taken off, or I get shadow banned, or I get sort of, my bandwidth gets taken down a little bit, where his bandwidth gets shot up. I want you all to see that's what's happening in this community. And goddamn well that those people are different than me. Just listen to me for a little while and go listen to them. And I highly suggest you listen to everyone in this community. Listen to everyone, because you're going to see I'm on the complete opposite side of what these people are trying to push. And I want you to understand this. I never care what an adult does when it comes to transitioning or with their body or any of that. That is 100% your choice as an adult. I speak up for the kids who can't. I speak up for the kids who I believe are being put into a false space. Now, that said, do I think trans kids exist? I would say that there are kids that are like myself and maybe like you, that most definitely know that they feel like a boy or a girl at the age of 5 or 6. 100% that those kids exist. There's no doubt. But is it dysphoria? Are they trans? Are they gay? Are they straight that are just dealing with some gender stereotype stuff? Are they girls who think being a boy is better? Are they girls who are very masculine? I mean, my God, people, the fact that we just want to shove some kid into some space because we as adults think we know better, that's not healthy. You've got to let kids figure themselves out. Just because a kid says, I feel like a boy, does not mean that that's actually true. And the fact that we immediately want to medicalize a kid like that, come on, man. We can't. We cannot do that. And I will continue to speak out about that, even if you hate me, even if you call me transphobic, even if you're my friend who decided to blast me on the internet and go after me without having a personal conversation with me, because that's what it's coming down to. So what I see is this, my friends. Here's what I see. I see that pushback happening around the kids from this transgender community because why? Why do I see that pushback? Because it's about them. Those people who push back, you have to look at the type of people that push back, who's pushing back, and why they think puberty blockers are so important. The reason you give puberty blockers to a child is for one reason and one reason only: to stop the physical growth of masculine or feminine characteristics. Do you know that? I'm going to repeat myself. The reason they want to give puberty blockers to children is for one reason only: to stop the masculinization or the feminization of a child. Let that sink in. That's the only reason why. It's not doing anything positive to the brain. It's actually stopping the brain from growing. It's stopping the body from growing, right? A healthy body. Now, I'm going to say this because someone's going to push back on me, not here, but later on. They're going to say, well, Buck, cisgender kids have been taking Lupron or puberty blockers forever. Right. Okay. So, do you all understand why a cisgender child would be put on puberty blockers? Does anybody in here understand why? Why any child is being put on puberty blockers? Does anyone here know why a child will be put on puberty blockers? Right? Well, here, let me tell you. Right, there you go, Seth. That's the only reason why any child should ever be on any. There you go. Another person said it. Here you go. It's an actual fact. This is an actual fact of why a cisgender child is put on puberty blockers for this reason and this reason only. And it has been going on for a long time. That's an actual medical, this right here, precocious puberty, is an actual medical condition that you get diagnosed with. And you can see the child is moving too fast. Maybe they are 4 or 5 years old and they're growing breasts already. Well, we got to slow that down. Now, I'm going to jump back to trans kids, right? Trans kids who want puberty blockers. Yet, trans kids live in a very healthy body. Their bodies aren't having precocious puberty. Their bodies are going through normal puberty for their actual biology. There is nothing wrong with that child's actual physical being. Okay? Now, get those two pieces together. Precocious puberty and trans kid. Precocious puberty is an actual medical space that actual needs medicine to slow it down so that they catch up to their other age, to their actual age group. So by the time this child who's growing breasts at 5 is 10, now they're able to catch up to their peers and be a normal child on some level. But when you do that to a transgender child, that's here. It's not here. You are dealing with a child's mind. You are not dealing with a child's actual puberty. Being trans has nothing to do with puberty. It has to do with your brain not aligning with your body. So to stop the puberty of an actual child, let's just use the age of 10 or 8, because you think the masculinization or the feminization of this child is going to hurt them. That is actually bullcrap right there. You cannot make that choice. Oh, good morning, Australia. You cannot make that choice for a child. No way. The only people that are making those choices are adults. Don't you dare say a child can make that. No way. You think an 8-year-old can make a choice to be sterilized or to have some messed up bone growth or joint growth or brain growth? I mean, come on. We all know what it does. It's stunting your puberty, your actual normal puberty. Biological humans have to go through puberty. You have to. You have to do it. If you don't do it, you're not going to be healthy. I wouldn't be the healthy. Look at, I'm 60. I know I'm healthy. I'm kicking ass at 60 because I didn't have puberty blockers put in my body. Now I'm going to have all these side effects. We know damn well there's side effects to these puberty blockers and nobody's talking about it. They're all saying lies to you. Oh, it's reversible. Really? Show me. So now you're going to do that at the expense of a child. You're going to actually show me at the expense of a child that, whoops, actually, Buck, you were right. This is not good for the kids. Whoops, we just screwed up a whole bunch of kids. Whoops, that's how I feel you people are acting. Like you don't care about these kids. Because if you actually cared about these kids, you would slow down too. You would not attack me and call me transphobic and a TERF and a bigot. And the number one new one is grifter. How can a 30+ year transitioned man like me be a grifter? How? I would love to know. But this is what is happening. They fling the words at you to shut you down. And there's a whole list of them I'm releasing, and you all can add to it. All of these words are gaslight words. You don't want to have the conversation with me because you know you can't keep up with me. That's what I know. Anyone can debate me. I'll debate anyone around children and transitioning. Anyone. Bring it on. I don't care. Even a child who's transitioned. We have a kid here who shows up at 14 put on puberty blockers, literally says to me at 15 she was completely destroyed from it. They're stepping up. These kids are stepping up. Who's responsible for that? Here's the question I want to ask you. Who's responsible for giving these kids the puberty blockers that will inevitably come back to haunt them and their health? You and I both know it. But everyone's willing to throw the kids under the bus. I'm not. Hate me all you want. I'm not willing to throw the kids under the bus. Screw you. Screw you. I want them to suffer a little bit. Yeah, you're right. I want them to suffer, whatever that means. Yeah, sure. They're going to suffer. They're going to suffer 100 times more because you medicalized them and you played with puberty. So I'll be here. Don't think I won't be here. I'll be here in 2 and 3 years when this shit hits the fan, because it's coming. And you're willing. I'm trying to stop it. You're trying to ramp it up. So here we go. That was my question. Adults are responsible. Thank you. You cannot blame this on the children. Not one bit. Not one bit. You are luring children. You are luring children in believing that they can not only change their sex, which isn't true, but not only that you are telling them their feeling is real. We don't understand what they're feeling. You're not giving them a chance to take that ride. You are intercepting them because you think you know better. Since when does a child say I'm trans? Since when? I never heard that in my whole life, ever, until the last 5 or so years. I never heard a kid say, never did I see a 10-year-old go, oh, I'm trans, ever. They said, I feel like a boy, or I feel like a girl. I never, ever. So how are they getting that language? And why are we giving them that language? Why would we give a 10-year-old this language to say I'm trans? Why would we do that? Why would we do that? Sacrifice the kids and prey upon parents' emotions and fear so that the drug companies can laugh all the way to the bank. Pretty much, Sage. Pretty much. Then we get people like this. Internet Dylan, who has a lot of following. This guy's 13 years. Dylan is 30 years old. And I didn't mean to misgender. I apologize. Dylan is 30 years old. And guess what the demographic of Dylan's follower base is? What do you think the demographic of Dylan's... What do you think it is? What do you think the demographic... What's the age group of people that watch this guy? This person. What do you think the demographic is? He acts 13. I keep saying he. I can't help it. I'm so sorry. So this person thinks 25. You think that's the demographic? You're wrong. Here's closer to the demographic. Wait, there you go. Here's closer to the demographic. Well, let me see. I just saw it. Here it is. This is the demographic. Right there. You got it, Minx. That's the demographic that watched Dylan. A 30-year-old transitioned adult. 30. Do you think that this age group watches me? Do you think? No way. They wouldn't touch me with a 10-foot pole. And I don't want them to. I don't want kids around me like that. I don't want to talk to 13 and 17-year-olds unless their parents are in the house. I have no interest in that age group in any way, shape, or form, other than if I'm speaking in a Zoom meeting with parents. But other than that, oh, is it dropping? No. So Cypher says, I think it's dropping. Fuck, 8? Wait a minute. 8? Thank you, friend. Appreciate that. What's your thoughts on the JK Rowling boycott? I think it's ridiculous. I think it's disgusting. I think it's actually insane. I think it's a witch hunt. I think that JK is not transphobic. As you know, I actually converse with this human on Twitter all the time. And this woman is extremely gracious to me. And, I have a background in adult entertainment, which a lot of people don't agree with, including her, but she still overlooks that and sees me as a transsexual person that she respects. So that being said, a boycott is ridiculous on JK Rowling. Are you kidding me? All you're doing is heightening her fame. It's the same for me. Every time you put my name out there, you're just giving me PR. So thank you, friends. I very much appreciate it. So it's the same with her. You think she cares? She's like, bring it on. Her game is killing it. Like, these people are so dumb. They're not that powerful. They won't. They're actually, they're actually sort of on some level reiterating the insanity of the transgender community, and people see it and people don't like it. And I won't be a part of it because I don't believe that she is transphobic. And I believe that she's a woman who speaks her mind. And since when can't a woman have a thought? We don't live in 1930. We live in 2023. And I'll be damned if I'll be part of a misogynist movement. It's a misogynist movement. When you boycott JK Rowling, that's a misogynist movement. Not going to be part of that. Women matter to me. Okay. Trans people matter to me, but so do women. So do women. I'm an actual biological female. I lived as a woman for half my life. How dare you put me in a position? Oh, if you don't support the trans community, you're a transphobe. Really? Well, guess what? I'd rather be a transphobe than a misogynist. So how do you like that? There you go. Take that. So whatever names you want to call me, I am a free thinker. I think for myself. I do not think because you tell me how to think. Also, you've never proved to me that she is transphobic. I have not seen one thing transphobic. Not one. So you're lying. You're actually lying. I'm the guy that does my due diligence. I'm not going to listen to you, and you're not going to tell me, well, Buck, she is. Don't worry. I read it. You don't have to. People were saying that. I read it for you, so you don't have to read it. Shouldn't that make all the red flags go up? When anyone says to you, I read it already, you don't need to. She is transphobic. You should go read it immediately. Immediately. Don't you dare let people read for you or think for you, because that's what that is. That's people thinking for you. And that's my encouragement here. It has nothing to do with being trans, gay, LGBT. That's not, I have a lot of people who are not even in the LGBT community who listen to me and who are friends of mine or, are part of this situation. Because I don't speak for trans people. I speak for like actually being just a normal fucking person and having a good heart and having some fucking integrity and having some reality put back on the space. We don't have that. The trans community is actually insane and all over the place. And I'm not going to be part of that. That's not trans. That has nothing to do with being trans. That has something to do with some type of agenda using the name trans. When you go after a woman named JK Rowling who was homeless, who got on her feet and wrote some of the most incredible books of this universe, who changed the game on reading, who helped my kid, who helped a million other kids, even myself, learn to read. How dare you? This woman is a game changer. And I'm sorry your little feelings get hurt because trans women are trans women. I'm sorry your little feelings get hurt because you can't accept reality. And I'm sorry your feelings get hurt and that you have to attack a woman because you're so weak about who you are. Because that's what that is. That's weakness. That is actual weakness. I'm not weak. And this is what I need for people to say and to do. You need to push back on these people. When someone calls you a transphobe, you need to push back on that immediately and say, wait a minute, that's not transphobic. That is me having an opinion about a certain subject that you keep bringing up. Thank you, Jim. That's so sweet. Appreciate the work. What are the right questions to ask to validate someone is transsexual? I'm 31 and working through this for 5 years, trying to get under this with little luck, trying to make sure. So, here's what I'm not a therapist. Okay. I just have a lot of lived experience. But that being said, I think every transsexual's journey is different. And that is an important part of this whole trans debate. we are forgetting that we're all individuals and that we come to this with a whole different set of dysphoric reasons, feelings, why we feel like we need a transition, why we don't feel like. There are many people who live with their dysphoria and never medically transition. So what are the right questions to ask to validate someone is transsexual? That's a difficult question for me to answer to you, because I don't know about how to validate if someone is real. Here's the deal. For a transsexual person, and I don't know how you would ask somebody. So but I love the question. It's really a great question. So here's what I know about a transsexual person. A transsexual person has a diagnosis. That's number one. That's how you're going to know for sure they're transsexual. They went to an actual therapist, not affirmative, a therapist who they worked with for a while, and they got a diagnosis called gender dysphoria, which is a mental disorder, and they accept that. And most transsexuals, if they're able to, will do this and move forward. And most transsexuals will want to live in the binary. Okay, there's no such thing as a non-binary transsexual. That's transgender. Non-binary transsexual people are binary. Done. We want to live and look like men and women. We want to be there with you. We don't want to be trans. That's not part of the equation. So I think, as opposed to asking questions, maybe kind of listen to their story, or ask, so how did you come to this understanding that you're a transsexual? Stuff like that. Those are really, I think, a normal question. And if someone gets butthurt over you asking, don't take that on. It's not about you. If somebody doesn't want to answer it, they're just going to say, I'm not comfortable, which is okay. But I think majority of transsexual people are willing to have the conversation with you, because we're tired of being represented by complete wingnuts. But I really appreciate you asking that question, right? So yeah. I did. I did trim my beard. It was getting a little bit crazy. I was looking like literally like trampa on the street. I'm not kidding, but thanks for noticing. So you guys, the future is binary cat orange with, oh gosh, it's just, and there's nothing wrong with living in the binary, people, at all. There is nothing wrong. The binary is real. The binary is the majority of the world. The binary is where I live. I like being in the binary. It's an actually important part of my transition. So that's why I'm telling you, non-binary people are not transsexual. They're non-binary. I don't resonate. I don't even know what that means. Honestly, I don't. I have no idea what non-binary means. I don't really understand it. If someone can explain it to me. So thanks, friend. That's really nice. Thank you. Hi, Buck. Love you. Do you think detransitioners are our allies? They sometimes can become anti-trans and will even misgender. Yes, this is true. And this is the problem with today. No, there are going to be detransitioners who are completely chill with you and I, because I have a lot of detransition friends that I also bring on my platform here. But then we're going to have the ones who are angry. So you have to remember this. They're angry. They're angry that they were sucked into this space. And I honestly don't blame them. I don't blame them. They should never be in this space. It's because no one's speaking out about how sloppy we are with transitioning. We're sloppy. And it's why this is ramping up. And we're getting, and the fact that the community says detransitioners don't exist or they're tiny it says so much about this fake community. Fake. I highlight the detransitioners, even if they disagree with me. I highlight them because, as far as I'm concerned, the detransitioners are going to save lives. They're going to 100% save lives. They're going to get us back into the format that those people like to call gatekeeping, but I call safekeeping. We need to get back to that format. If we continue to do this sloppy self-ID, we're going to just have so many anti-trans laws. We're going to have so many anti-trans people. We're going to have so many people who are hurt from this. And we see it already. So to be honest with you, I think it's not all detrans, just like not all trans people are crazy, right? So again, we have to look at things more in a nuanced manner. And some of the detrans are willing to talk about it, and some are very mad about it, and they're going to push back on us because they're pissed off about the situation that they should have never been put in, ever. It's kind of sad. It makes me sad. It breaks my heart. It really does break my heart. So Seth says, honestly, we need to start helping them financially. That's right. Well, there's lawsuits happening. I don't know if you all know this. Do you know this? Lawsuits are happening now for detrans people. It's starting to happen. And we all saw that coming. And then that's going to hurt us as well. The detrans people are, on some level, what is going to stop the madness and the madness of giving children medicine that is irreversible. I am so tired of the lies, so tired of this idea that if you give puberty blockers, it's reversible. I would like to know what is reversible. What's reversible? When they say it's reversible, what is it? They're not specifying what it is. They're only saying it. Does anybody here know what is supposedly reversible? Because I don't think there is anything that is actually reversible. So remember, question these people when they say, oh, you're wrong, Buck. It's reversible. Oh, really? What's reversible? Tell me. Well, you'll just pick up puberty where you left off. Well, let me see here. Could you show me where that's actually documented? Well, Buck, it is nope, I need facts. Which you all say, I need facts. So what did I do? Google. Oop, Finland. Oop, Sweden. Oop, UK. Boom, 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 boom. Stopping puberty blockers. Found out to be not reversible. Found out that the damage is done. I mean, should I go on and on? Don't listen to these people. They're lying to you. There's no such thing as no damage. There's no such thing as reversible. Let me just give you this real example here, real quick here. Okay? Trust the science. Here we go. I'm 10. Let's just say I'm 10. And I'm trans, Mom. Okay, let's go to the doctor and get you puberty blockers. Okay, the doctor gives me puberty blockers. I am 10. Okay? I'm in a healthy 10-year-old body. Nothing's wrong with me. Nothing. It's all here. Remember, but the doctor is going to give me a medication at 10 years old that they put in my 10-year-old body while 10 is literally on the cusp of puberty and you're starting to grow. Okay, that means what puberty is. First off, do we even all understand what puberty is? Puberty is, oh, wait, hold on. That's, okay, there. Okay, puberty is the growth from a child to an adult. That's what puberty is. You're going in steps. You're going from a child to like right to the middle aged of growing into an adult. That's why puberty is important. You're literally growing into an adult. Your penis size grows, things in your reproductive system grow, your bones grow. You know, all of these things are growing. And now you're giving me this pill or this injection that literally stops the natural growth of a healthy 10-year-old. Now, I'm on those puberty blockers. Let's just say 6 months, okay? In 6 months, what has happened to my body? Do any of you know what has happened to my body? In that 6 months of stopping the natural process of puberty on a very healthy 10-year-old body. Yeah, I watched that doc. Do any of you know what happens in those 6 months? Well, you stop developing. There you go. I mean, we should teach this class to the rest of the world. We really should teach this class because I'm telling you, if people saw what we're talking about, they'd be like, what? We're getting puberty. So now remember, healthy body, it's the mind. Instead of giving the mind health, we're giving the body that doesn't need it. So now you shut down. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Celia. I appreciate that. So now you shut down the growth for 6 months. 6 months. How are you getting that 6 months back? Does anyone in this room know? How are you getting the 6 months back? So now we stop the puberty blockers, okay? Okay, that's a great idea. I'll do that. I'll do a Twitter space. How do you get the 6 months back? Does anybody have the answer for that? There's one answer that I love. You don't. Here's another one that I love. Wait, 6 months lost. Not that one. Wait, this one right here. More drugs. How is that reversible? You don't. Everyone in this room, HRT, more medication. Okay. I mean, I'm only laughing because holy crap, we're actually talking about this. Time machine. Right. We all know what's going on here. We're not stupid. Here you go. Beautiful. Stop a caterpillar from growing and you miss out on a beautiful butterfly. That is amazing and beautiful. Thank you for saying that. So here we are, kids and people and parents who might be listening. I feel for you. I actually feel so sad for the parents of these transgender kids. I see your anger. I see the way you react to me. I see you calling me names. I see that you think for some reason that I'm not on your side. I think you think things that aren't true about me. I'm trying to help. There's no nuance in your parental space. You're told that you have to do this or your child will die. That's not true. That is actually not true. They have not proven that. There's a difference between suicidal ideation and actual suicide. Do you know that? There's a big difference. I had suicidal ideation as a young person. Not just trans people have that. Many people. Then you don't have to be LGBTQ to have suicidal ideation. Many people have that. It's not just trans kids. So why aren't we giving other kids medication that will stunt their growth? So I want to speak to the parents for a moment here. I feel you, friends. I do. I can't even imagine being in that space as a parent myself. And I feel on some level that you are being kind of led down the wrong path because they're using your emotions and they're using your love for your child. How sick is that? How sick is that? They're using your connection. I see my partner with her child. She's the one who had the baby. The connection between her and our son is different than my connection. And I do believe that there's a difference in a connection between a mother and a child. I just do. I see it. And that's just my own thought. So I see the desperation that you as a parent have when they tell you, if you don't do this, you're not going to have a child. Please listen to me right now. I transitioned at 30. Okay. I grew up in the 60s and 70s. Okay. My parents did let me be a tomboy and be masculine and all of those things, but I didn't transition at 8 and 9 and 10. And by the time I was an adult, of course, I dealt with things which all kids do. I dealt with the same thing every other kid dealt with. I wasn't having different anxiety. I was having the same anxiety as everybody the fuck else at 17, at 18. All of it. Mine did correspond to my gender as well. But are you telling me that young girls don't have that? Of course they do. They all do. Even boys do in a different way. This is normal for a kid. It's not abnormal for a kid not to feel like they fit in or that they're different or that this is all normal childhood behavior. I transitioned as an adult and I've never looked back. And I'm going to tell you, of course, when you're in the struggle, it sucks. Nobody wants to be in the struggle, but you cannot save your child from struggle. It's not possible. It's not possible. Your child will struggle with something else. You think you're going to block the struggle constantly? No, you're not. And I'm going to say that I think struggle is important for a kid. It teaches them how to figure shit out. But if we're making sure that these kids don't struggle or deal with something for a little while longer and that they can't have it right now, we are doing a disservice to our kids. Kids shouldn't just get things because they need it. Kids should understand what they're doing before they get it. Every kid wants that Xbox. Every kid wants that Xbox. Every kid wants those games. Do they get it? Well, not in my house. You have to do stuff to get shit. You don't just get it. I'm old school like that. Go cut the lawn, dude. Don't take out the trash cans. Go pick up the dog shit. Like, do something. Then we'll talk about the Xbox. I just come from a different way of parenting. And I believe struggling sometimes. And when he goes in his room and shuts the door and cries, that's not my problem. Go in your room and cry, kiddo. And in a half hour, he forgot about it. And we're back, lifting weights in the gym. So I just know this. Kids are constantly changing their minds. I'm saying that as a transsexual, and I'm also saying it as a parent. Why are we in such a rush? Why are they pushing parents to say, yeah, my kid's trans, give them medicine? Why? Why would they push so fast on something that's so drastic? Why would they give you this sort of ultimatum? If you don't do it, they'll kill themselves. Who does that? Who does that? And why would we do that? That's what I wanted to say to you parents. And I'm not judging you. No way would I judge you. I feel for you. I'm glad I'm not in your space. I am. I just don't even know what I would do. As a transsexual, I'm not. Well, I know that I wouldn't give my kid puberty blockers. I just wouldn't do it. But that's just me. It is like a threat. That's right. Who said that? I saw that. It's almost like a threat. That is actually true. That should scare us all. How dare you take that to that level to a parent when they're struggling? Also, let me just back up. We're going to end this right here. Let me just back up for 1 minute. Why are we making parents and their child struggle around this conversation? Why? Why are we making them struggle? Why aren't we giving them more love? Why aren't we saying, hey, wait a minute here. Your kid is dealing with some, gender stereotype stuff. Because that's really what it is. The kids are dealing with gender stereotypes. And I thought we stopped gender stereotypes. Didn't we work kind of really hard to say women can look like dudes and still be women, and men can be feminine and still be a man? Didn't we actually move forward on that like 20 or 30 years ago? That is a big part of what's happening. These people don't want your child to be on some level gender fluid. They want your child to be in this space now. It's weird. We've lost our way. It is not trans. I don't know what's happening. We've regressed. Okay, well, this is funny. I should give a TED talk. They'll never have me. Ever. That's okay. We have our platform here. TED Talk would never have me. I'm way too that, which is kind of sad, but I've accepted it. I've accepted I'm not part of the trans, I'm not part of the trans voice. And that's okay. I'm not here to be popular. I'm really not. I'm here because I care, and I'm here because I believe that I have something to actually contribute to this conversation, and I'm here because I feel like if I wasn't here, I was being on some level disingenuous, and I'm not stepping up when transitioning was the best thing that ever happened to me. And that is important that you understand that. And I believe in transition, and I believe that people should transition as an adult. And I believe that it helps people to move forward in the world. And that's why I'm here. I'm not here because, I need to be that popular trans person. I don't. Far from it. And in fact, I don't think I would want to be that person. That is a huge amount of stuff that I don't believe is actually real. And so I don't consider myself an influencer. I don't consider myself a leader of the trans community. I don't consider any of those things. I consider myself a guy who was really able to get my shit together and live in a life of amazing, just incredible. That's all I can say. I mean, I have everything I've ever wanted and more, and actually more. And I got that from being honest. That I do know. And working on me, not on you. I work on me. When I go to my therapy every week, when I meditate, when I, focus on my eating and my gym and my health wise, that's me. I do this for me. And that's the encouragement I want to leave you with. What are you doing for you? Are you wasting your time fighting with these crazy people who don't really care about you and who will disappear in 2 years? And you took all of that time and energy out of your life that you could have been doing incredible positive things, but instead fighting on the internet with people who aren't willing to, in any way, shape, or form, have a real conversation with you. That's what I want to leave you with today. Okay? It's all an illusion. It's all an illusion. Until we come back to actually speaking in truth, and I don't mean my truth, in truth, in reality, because we all live in that same reality, whether you want to believe it or not. When someone says my reality or my truth, think about that for a minute. We all live in this reality right here, this glass this machine, this mic, this hat. We all live in actual reality. So when people are saying things that don't resonate with you, go the other way, especially if they won't have the conversation. Remember, this is about you and me and everyone trying to find a solution to what we are in today. I'm a solution-based person. I don't need to fight with the world, and I don't want to fight with the world. It's not why I transitioned. I want to live in the world. And this is the message that I think we've now lost, even in our LGBT community. We've lost what is our ultimate goal. My ultimate goal is to live with you. I don't care how you identify. I don't even care what you ate for breakfast. I want to live with you in order for me to be able to go and walk down the street without having my ass kicked. And I'm pretty sure you feel the same way. So today, do something for you. Do something for you, not for these people, not because you feel like you need to be woke or be part of the conversation. You don't. You need to do something for you. And once you start doing something for you, it gives you a superpower to now engage with the people who are gaslighting you, because you're going to be solid in your space and you know who you are. It's why I'm able to sort of, on some level, push back, because I know who I am and I know what's in my heart and I know what my ultimate goal is. And it's not to create drama or anger or pain, is to create a real space where we all can move forward in the world. That's what I'm going to leave you with, my friends. And I really always appreciate you so much for joining me on these lives. And I think it worked. It's my first live with my new computer. And thanks everybody for contributing to that and my new internet connection. And so I think on some level, it actually seemed fine. I don't think I saw any buffering. Okay. So again, to all the people here who aren't even trans, thanks for showing up and thanks for really seeing what I'm trying to do here. And you're right, I'm very much into the more Buddhist teaching, and meditating really helps slow the mind down. Used to help so many clients calm their thoughts. Thank you. I'm going to leave that up as I go. Whether or not you're into meditation or not, just figure out, even sitting with yourself for 1 minute without anybody else in the room, practice doing that and practice knowing that you have to love yourself. And that's a difficult space to get into. Learning how to love yourself is but it's how do you do it? You're honest with yourself. Be honest with yourselves. Be honest about your downfalls and be honest about the things that are great about you, because we all have good and bad things about us. And then think about the bad things in you that you want to change. And you have to do that. I can't do it. I'm not responsible for you. We're all responsible for ourselves. And I think that's the problem with today. We're not teaching people to take responsibility. What I put out there, I'm responsible for, and I take full responsibility for it, even if you dislike it. I'm very responsible for what comes out of my mouth, and I'm very, very aware of that. So bye you all. Thanks so much. I really appreciate you all for showing up. It means the world to me. And I'll see you next week. Same time, same bat channel. And if you have any, send Seth, he's my awesome assistant. If you want to send him some talking points, and also before I go, Twitter live. I did a Twitter space yesterday on can trans women get a period? It was excellent. We had so many great people show up. So I might start doing those maybe on a weekly basis. We get a really great crowd there. And I just want to say thanks everybody. It means a lot to me that you're willing to have, this conversation. Have a beautiful day. See y'all later. And I think it went really good.